everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree Buonomo. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. And today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. Now, by the time you're seeing this video, it's probably going to be a little bit into September, and I apologize for that. But as I mentioned in my, I think back in June video when I talked about my channel changes, life is definitely getting a lot busier for me. I found that the fact that I have 3 night classes after working an 8-hour job is very draining. And while I'm doing well for the first 3 weeks of school that I've attended, it's definitely made me not want to do videos because of how much effort videos are. So I hope that you guys bear with me, and I appreciate everyone who has been following me recently and who is sticking around. I know sometimes it's a bummer to be inconsistent with videos, but guys, I'm not going to be able to do it right now because of how busy my life is. So I hope you guys understand. But with that out of the way, I am going to talk about the books I read, the things I wrote, and some personal tidbits about how my life has been in the month of August. So let's start with my book. In the month of August, I only technically completed 1 book, and that was The 12 by Justin Cronin. So I have a full discussion video with my lovely friend Autumn Ashley over on her channel. I will link it in the cards. And we talked about this book. Now, I say that I partially read this because I ended up DNFing it about 60% of the way in. This book was definitely not what I expected. I really enjoyed the passage, and I enjoyed the slow burn of what was to come and finding out how the world evolved 100 years into and after an apocalypse, which I really liked. And this book just really fell flat. It did the same premise where it talked about the past and the present, but it jumped back and forth between the past and present, which made it really confusing. And to be honest, I didn't even know we were jumping back and forth for the longest time. I felt like I was not invested in the characters. There were a lot of new characters introduced on top of the already pretty stacked cast that was introduced in the first book. And I just didn't like where the story was going in this. I felt like it was really slow and bogged down. I thought that the premise that we had in the beginning of this book in the series and the passage was so strong and solid and complete that the direction that this took, I just felt like didn't really add anything on, and it didn't answer a lot of the questions that I had at the end of book 1. So overall, I didn't enjoy this book, and I did stop reading it about 60% in because I just figured I'm not going to waste my time on a bad book. I will link the whole discussion. I think me and Autumn had a really good discussion. There is 2 parts. There's a non-spoiler and a spoiler part. So if you're never going to read this, I highly recommend watching the spoiler section. But if you do think you might pick this book up, then just stick to the non-spoilers. And I do think Autumn had cards on there, so you guys would know when we're approaching the spoilers. So like I just said, that was the only book that I attempted to finish. I started The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab in the month of August on audiobook, and I also started physically reading In the Wildlife by Jeff Zentner. However, I didn't finish either of those, and the Jeff Zentner book kind of got pushed to the side as I started getting into my college classes, and I had a lot of reading to do for those. So unfortunately, I've been probably focusing on The Near Witch, but I didn't complete it in the month of August, so I did start a lot of textbooks though. And as one of my friends told me in a text message recently, textbooks just suck the fun out of reading. And she was so right, because after having to read something so dry for so long, I'm not in the mood to read anything else, and that's a bummer. But I do have 2 books that are actually like reading books as supplemental reading for my classes that I started. And I'll talk about them more at the end of September because I think I actually started them in September. But I'm enjoying those, so hopefully I'll get through some of them and I can share that at some point in the next couple months. So now let's talk about the things that I wrote in the month of August, which I will say, in the month of August, I put a goal out into the universe that I was going to finish my read-through and start making the changes that I marked up on my read-through into my draft 3. And I did my read through. So we finished Prophecy Project's read through, which was kind of just making sure that loose ends were tying up and just cleaning up the draft. So what I did is I printed it out and I read through it physically and marked up on the papers like where I thought things needed change. So that way I can kind of see the flow on a piece of paper and figure out like how and where I needed to add stuff in. And to be honest, that read through went really well. I'm very proud of this book. I'm also very proud of the second draft because despite having some issues and needing a little bit more areas bulked up in the book, I felt like it was a really solid draft and such a huge change from what I had in draft 1, where it was my fast draft, my just kind of getting my ideas out and fast pacing it through Nano 2018. So I think I did a lot of good work and I do want to get this out to readers soon. Again, school has definitely dampened my creative flow. I have not really focused on writing in the last 3 weeks, so it's been really hard for me to put the energy into writing through the draft. Even though there's not a lot of changes that I need, some of it will take a little bit of work, and I know I just want to be able to dedicate a few hours to doing that at a time, and I haven't had that so far. But I'm hoping that throughout the month of September, I will be able to kind of make those changes here and there. As long as I can stay ahead on my schoolwork, it shouldn't be a problem. But we all know that schoolwork can be demanding, especially at a graduate level. So we'll see how I get. I know I'm a little crazy for doing 3 classes, but I want to be done as soon as possible. Otherwise, that is literally all the writing updates I have. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot, and it's mostly just because of how busy life has been. So it is what it is. And last, I'll talk about a little bit of personal tidbits, which to be honest, I know I've mentioned graduate school. That has been the biggest update for me, is that I entered the fall semester. I'm doing my credit recovery. So the credits that I need in order to get licensed, I am trying to get those credits, which meant that I needed, I think, 15 credits for a class and an internship and practicum, and then I'm done. I already have my master's, but I am in need of a few specific classes in Pennsylvania in order to be licensed as a therapist, and I'm not currently licensed. So that's where this like weird thing is. So I decided to take 3 classes this semester, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. I decided to do that because if I didn't take those 3 classes now, then one of those classes is only offered in the fall, which meant that no matter how much work I did next spring and summer, I would have to take a class next fall. And I just really didn't want to do that. I want to try to get through as much as I can and relieve some of this pressure. So I figured I'd go a little bit crazy this fall semester with 3 classes, because then I could just focus on my internship hours, which is going to be a lot of hours because you need 700 hours in order to finish this portion of my licensure track. And 700 hours is on top of my full-time job, and I can't include my full-time job as an internship, which is a real big drawback of Pennsylvania's laws. I really don't agree with it, but I'm one person and I don't make the laws. So lo and behold, I have to do essentially a second job on top of my job next year, and I did not want to do any additional classes next year while doing an internship. Right now, it looks like we're working this through, and hopefully I will be good and set for the spring semester to just jump right into my practicum internship and get those hours started. So that's where I'm at. As I mentioned, it's been sucking a lot of energy and time. I have 3 days where I'm literally going from work right to class. And then most of those days I don't see my husband because my husband works even longer hours than I do. He gets up at 5:30 a.m. and gets out the door by 6. And then he comes home at like 5:30 at night. And by that time I get home from class at 7:38, 9 o'clock, whenever it decides to get out. He's sometimes in bed. So I'm definitely trying to balance my relationship life and my school work life, which is why partially I have not been doing a lot of videos, because I just don't want to sacrifice that time. But it's not all doom and gloom. I have been doing a lot of little things in my life. So in the month of August, it was my 6th wedding anniversary. So me and Greg decided to go to, we had a different idea completely, and we ended up getting like our reservations canceled, and it was a whole slew of issues, but we stayed at a casino, and we decided just to stay at the casino. And I'm not a gambler, but I decided to like put 20 bucks in and see where I got. Spoiler alert, I didn't get far at all. I lost my 20 bucks, but we just drank and there was live music and we were just kind of having a fun time. It was weird to be out in public again, just in general doing something, but it was definitely rewarding, and you know, we were able to be safe with it, and it was really nice just to be able to do something in just a normal vein. And we did end up having a really good anniversary weekend. We went to a vegan bakery on our way home, which was my favorite. I actually, like, where we went for the weekend, it was close to where I went to college, and it was my favorite vegan bakery. It was my favorite bakery when I was down there. But I also liked it because it's vegan and their stuff is just so good. So I was so happy we got to go there. I also went to a county fair in August, which was the first time I've been to a fair in like years, maybe like 10 years, honestly. So that was a really good time. I went with my mom and my husband, and we just walked around. We ate food. That was mostly what we went for, was the food. And I got to see some animals, and they were really cute. And also I bought cotton candy that was maple flavored, and I forgot about it. And it just like deflated into this hard rock of sugar, and I never got to try it. And I was so bummed. I was so disappointed in myself. But the rest of the time and the experience was really good. I just wish I didn't forget my cotton candy. In the month of August, I also kind of got into a TV binge with my husband a little bit. And we watched Invincible, which is on Amazon Prime. It's a cartoon-based show about superheroes, and it was really good. I typically tend to like darker shows, and being that it was a cartoon and like things can be embellished, it was definitely an interesting show. I will be looking forward to a season 2, but I definitely recommend if you are not squeamish and you like darker superhero concepts. We also watched this British show called Taskmaster. It's essentially where a bunch of people, like, they do these different stunts and they're given a task, and they get points based on like how well they do the tasks, or like how funny they might be, or for various reasons. But you have a taskmaster who pretty much runs the show and gives away the points, and then you have his kind of assistant who will be the one to set up the points for the people, and then they change their cast every season. So we watched 2 seasons of that. Now, Greg has watched it before, and I've like seen it intermittently. I've never watched a full season with him, but the last 2 seasons I decided to watch with him, and they are really fun to watch. I just love the concepts of things, and also like it gets my brain working of like, oh, if I was in their position, what would I do and how would it work? And sometimes I had really good ideas, I think, and then other times I would completely miss the mark as well. So it's just a fun show. I highly recommend it. All of their seasons and episodes are on YouTube. You just search Taskmaster and you can watch them all from the start. And I love it because I think there's 11 seasons, and I think 12 is being filmed right now. So, I mean, you have Prime TV there, and I really like it. But yeah, honestly, guys, I think that's really the only thing those are the only things that's been happening in my life, because school started. It was the last 2 weeks of August, and I, again, had a lot of anxiety about going back, but since then, I've been kind of adjusting now and getting into a good pattern. I fell right back into the school pattern, which doesn't really shock me because I'm always been a school book nerd, so I like learning, and I also I feel like because of the classes that I'm taking now, they're all like introductory classes to counseling, which I am a practicing counselor at this point. I'm just not licensed. So a lot of this is stuff that I do know. And it's nice because on the one hand, I can kind of refresh how I've been doing therapy, but also like I feel like it should come easy and I shouldn't have any problems passing the class. The biggest thing is going to be I have one class that still gives like old school tests, like 10 question multiple choice answers that I don't do well in. So I'm a little nervous about the quizzes. And I do have a lot of papers to write and interviews to do. So I'm trying to like balance all of those and get them out of the way, because they do like all the papers are throughout the like semester, but most of them I can write now. So that's actually that's the reason I haven't been writing a lot, is because I'm trying to focus on getting those papers done. So that way I can just take a weekend to just write for fun and not have to worry about a paper deadline coming up. So that's essentially where all of my time and commitment has been going to. If it's not with my family and my friends, I have a lot going on in September, so it's gonna be kind of crazy. Wish me well. And again, guys, I thank you so much for watching and sticking out with me. Let me know down below in the comments. If you have any video ideas for me, please let me know, because as I mentioned, some of my creativity has been down lately due to being so focused on school. And if anyone has video ideas that they'd like to see from me, personally, that's a lot easier than coming up with my own. So let me know what kind of things you'd want to see, and I will try to make them happen. Otherwise, if you don't see a video from me in the next couple weeks, I apologize and I'll do my best. But I hope you stick around, and until next time, I'll see you then. Bye!